Are you a small YouTuber who's looking to do sponsorships and brand deals? Well, there's a few things you might want to watch out for. Greetings, people of the internet. I'm Scott with Serkworks Art Labs. Welcome, mad creators, to the underground laboratory where we create robots, aliens, zombies, and other imminent threats to humanity. We do that, or I do that, on YouTube. I guess that would make me a YouTuber. For some reason, I don't really consider myself a YouTuber. I like the term a person who's on YouTube. I don't know why that is, but YouTuber seems to be the correct nomenclature, so I'm gonna go with that. But so I guess I'm a YouTuber, and because of that, sometimes I will get requests from companies who want to, maybe run a product, me to sponsor a product or some kind of a brand deal or something like that. I don't get a lot because I'm relatively small in the YouTube space. I know everything's relative. There are some people that are just starting out who may look at me and say, "Wow, man, he's pretty far out there." But of course, there's people with millions of subscribers, or tens of thousands of subscribers, or hundreds of thousands of subscribers. So it really all is relative. But I'm sort of at that point where I'm starting to get some of these correspondence, some of these emails and things like that, and because I'm growing, and hopefully maybe someday I'll be up with some of these bigger YouTubers, but they're probably, if you're at that point, you've probably already dealt with this. But if you're where I am, or maybe even trying to get where I am, here's some things, I wish I knew about this kind of thing. And I haven't seen any videos or anything on this, so I thought I'd make one myself. And these are just things to watch out for as far as these brand deals are concerned. So I don't know if you're watching this, and maybe you've received an email saying, "Hey, we love your channel. We'd like to do a sponsorship deal with you, or can you talk about our product or something like that, and we can work something out." So the first time I received an email from a company who wanted me to kind of partner with them on a sponsorship, I was like, "Oh man, this is really cool. I haven't got this before." But then I kind of learned sort of the game and what this is all about and everything. And there's definitely some red flags and things I want you to know. And if you know these, then legitimate sponsorships of people that actually want to work with you, then you can kind of weed through some of this other stuff, and I'll kind of get into how this whole thing happens. But the basic thing is, now as a small YouTuber or whatever, I don't make very much money on YouTube, at least from AdSense and everything. So the idea of getting somebody who wants to partner with me on something, whether it's they want to review a product and send me a free product, or or maybe there's some money exchange in order to do this kind of sponsorship. That's kind of cool, because that just is another kind of supplemental income that you can make in addition. But right now, the main thing with YouTube is just to get awareness out about what I do, and hopefully grow the channel and everything. But it doesn't make a lot of money. But the thing is, I spend a lot of time doing these videos and everything, and that time that I spend, to me, is worth money, because I make my living as an artist. And if I take away from doing other things that do pay the bills to make videos, then there has to be some value in everything in that. So nobody wants to waste their time, and that's kind of what happens with these companies that want to do sponsorship. They don't want to waste their time. They don't mind wasting your time, but they don't want to waste their time. So basically what happens is you will appear on, I don't know if it's a website or if there's a list or whatever research is out there that gathers, analytics or just information on people doing YouTube. Whether if somebody finds me, I don't know if I'm on a list that says this person does kind of comic book content, and maybe it lists the subscribers, maybe it lists the number of views. I don't know. I don't know exactly what the information is that they're getting, but it's sort of a numbers game for these companies. So what they'll do is they'll just send out these blanket emails to anyone that's doing comic book, in my case, sort of comic book content or drawing content or whatever. And despite what the emails say, because when you get an email, it's probably going to say something like, oh, we love your channel and this and that, but you gotta kind of watch out, because if there's nothing specific in it, this is just a blanket email. Anyone can say they love your channel, but if they're not saying specifically, if they're not, now they may even have your name or the name of your channel in there, but if they're not saying, oh, we saw this video on this, or we know you do this kind of video, or something a little more specific, yeah, definitely that's the first red flag, the first thing you want to be aware of, because chances are they haven't watched your channel. They don't know anything about how many views you have, how many subscribers you have, any of that analytics. All they know is probably that you do a certain kind of content that may fit with whatever product they have. So they just sent these out to just tons of people. You know, all these different YouTubers. They don't want to, but there's qualifiers. When, you know, they want to know that you have a certain amount of views or a certain amount of subscribers or whatever to make it worth it for them to either send you a free product or partner with you. But they don't want to do that research up front. So what they do is they send out these blanket emails, and then the people that respond, because some people aren't going to respond. Maybe some people are too big and they don't want to bother with it, or they don't do sponsorships, or whatever the case is. Some YouTubers may not respond, but the people that do, then that kind of narrows it down. It makes less work for them. Then they can go in and they can look and they can say, oh, this person has the right number of subscribers for what we need, the right number of views, or whatever the case is. And I didn't know this the first time this happened to me. So I received an email from a company, superhero, I think it was superhero stuff or something. They sell, licensed superhero stuff, like, comic book characters, like all the major ones and everything, whether it's t-shirts or just knickknacks and all that kind of stuff. It's a big store. They sell all that kind of stuff. So I got that, and first off, I was kind of like, because it's kind of up to you what kind of sponsorships you want to do when you're at that point, but I don't want to do anything unless it makes sense for this channel. Now, I don't do a lot of, a while back I was doing some fan art stuff, but at the time, I don't do any like superhero stuff. My comic book, it's not a superhero comic book. I don't do a lot of superhero stuff. Every once in a while I might do an unboxing or something like that. But for the most part, I don't do superhero stuff. So I'm thinking to myself, okay, I'm not sure if this would be right. Even though a lot of people that watch these videos do like superheroes and everything. So for the audience, there might be some benefit, but I gotta make sure it works with the channel. So, I figured my audience would probably like this, but how do I work this into the channel? So I came up with an idea. I was like, well, I've got all these old drawings of superheroes that I did as a kid. And I was thinking about, revisiting some of those old drawings and revamping them for modern times and everything. And I thought that might be kind of cool as a series. Now, because I know going into this that I'm smaller as far as YouTubers go, and this is a big company. They could get probably sponsorship for people with a lot more subscribers. So I knew I had to add a little more value to make it interesting for them. So I thought, and the thing with advertising is sometimes if you just do one video, maybe not everyone sees it, but if you do like a series, then it kind of builds momentum and awareness of the product and everything. So I thought, well, I'll do this series where I revamp these different characters. I'll make it a series, and if you guys can send me, so I put together a proposal. If you guys can send me, they had sort of like a loot crate type thing with some of their products and everything. If you guys can send me one of those that I could give away, and that would build anticipation, like, next video we're gonna give one of these away and work the sponsorship in, and I thought that would work really well. So I came up with this whole idea and everything, put together a proposal, sent it out to them, and just crickets. They didn't respond. And I'm like, okay. So I waited a little while, I followed back, still nothing, and then that's the point I started to realize something's weird, because they contacted me. It's not like I went to talk to them and like, oh, I've got this idea and everything. If that was the case and I didn't hear back, I'd be like, okay, that's all right, it was worth a try or whatever. But since they contacted me and then they just ghost me, I'm like, that's not cool. So then I started to realize, no, what's happening is they're just sending these things to just a bunch of people that do comic book oriented content. Then the people that do get back to them, then they'll go through and say, okay, this person is worthy of us, and that way they don't have to do a lot of work. So again, we can have you waste your time. You'll do our work for us. But we don't want to waste a lot of time. But instead of just, even if they would have said, you know, sorry, on second thought, you know, we probably need somebody with more subscribers or whatever the case is, and I'm pretty sure that's what the case was. But no, they just disappeared. So I just kind of waited, I kind of let that go, and then eventually I did put out that series, and I you know, when I decided to get to that point, I was like, well, let me try one more time. I'll send back the email and say, look, I'm ready to roll out with this if this is something you want to do, and still zero. So that was my, you know, that was my first introduction, and I kind of learned the hard way. So after that, what I started to do, and this is something I want you guys to do, is basically, since they're sending out just these form letters, these generic things to you, put together your own generic form letter. And so this is what I do now when I get these requests for partnerships or sponsorships or whatever. I just have a form that I send back and say, look, it sounds, your product sounds interesting. I would, you know, I think we could do something, but I get a lot of these emails, and unfortunately a lot of people don't get back to me, and it's a waste. It's ended up being a waste of my time and everything. So I just want to make sure before I look any further into this that you actually are serious. And I've been using that, and I send that back, and then some people don't get back to you because just exactly the case. They'll at that point they'll say, oh, well, this person's willing to work with me. They'll check your stats or whatever, and they're like, yeah, they can't give us enough exposure or can't bring a broad enough audience to our products or whatever the case is. So then they just kind of move on. And then some people do get back to you, and then you can try to, you know, work out some kind of deal after that without wasting all your time like I did putting together a proposal and everything. But sometimes even after that, you run into some issues. So I had another company approach me not too long ago who they're like a lighting manufacturer. They have different you know, light bulbs and different products like that. And that may sound like something that doesn't fit with the channel, but actually there were a few things that just, it was kind of serendipitous in a way, that there were some things that I wanted to do. One was, you know, in the, I don't know if you guys have seen the command center where all the computer setup is and everything, but I need some different lighting in there because most of the glare from the monitor, it just floods everything out. So I need a different situation in that area of the underground lair. So I thought they did have some kind of lighting that would work for that. That stuff was a little more pricey, but they kind of sent a list and everything. You know, it's the same thing. They sent a letter, and I sent back and said, you know, I don't want to waste my time if you're serious, and then so we started talking and everything, and then they had another product that was just like sort of like a black light bulb. Recently I started wanting to get into doing screen printing, and one of the screen prints I wanted to do was sort of a UV ink print where it would be this mech, and it was just kind of a regular giant mech guy that giant robot that I would design, and then another, it would be one color on like a blueprint, sort of like, you know, blueprint style stuff that you've seen me do, but then there would be another layer of ink that would show all of these, you know, weaponry and stuff that would pop out. And the only way you could really see that is if you went over it with like a black light, like a UV light, and that would kind of make that ink appear. So that's something I eventually I will get to do that. So the other product that they had was sort of a UV light, and I thought, well, yeah, if you're willing to send me these two products, I'll do a video and everything. So I spelled it out, and maybe I didn't spell it out right or whatever, but you know, I'm waiting, and they said, yeah, we'll do a video and all this. So in the mail, I go and there's a box, I open it up, and there's just the one, like a double pack of these UV lights. Now that product I think retailed for like $20. So that means that, you know, for them it's probably it probably cost them maybe like $3 or something like that. I don't know. but that's kind of what I'm guessing. But the other product that was a little more on the pricey side that I was going to use for the additional video, because I wanted to do like a 2-video thing featuring some of their products and everything, it wasn't there. So I emailed them back. I said, look, I think there was a misunderstanding. I wanted to do both of these videos, but it's really, it's really not worth my time to do a whole dedicated video for like a $20 product, thinking that they would turn around and say, oh yeah, okay, so we'll send you the other product as well. And then they were kind of like, no, that's the only, basically that was the only thing they were willing to part with. And that's the thing, is that people need to understand the value of these videos, that what I put into this. It's not worth it for a company to come to me with like a $20 product and me to do a whole video, the time to film it, to edit it, to do all that stuff for $20. I mean, I could go work at McDonald's and make way more money than that. So that type of thing, I mean, people have to understand, that that type of thing isn't worth it for me. So you also have to, I mean, it's cool to get free products and things like that, but you have to think to yourself, is it really worth it? Is it really worth the time that I'm spending to make a video for whatever this product is? And it's got to be a product that you would want to actually use, that makes sense. And in this case it did, but yeah, just for that one product, it just wouldn't have made sense. Whereas if I would have got the other product and done both videos, then it would have kind of evened out and it would have made a little more sense. So I've got one more example that I wanted to share with you guys. And again, this goes back to this whole idea of the value that you're offering, the production, this channel, it's not a huge channel. At the time I'm recording this, I think I've got like 12,000 subscribers. I've got some videos that have hundreds of thousands of views. I've got some videos that have, 1,000 views, but my average videos usually get around like 300 views. That's not, that's not a lot. So, but that's not the only factor you need to consider. Again, the value and the work that I put into these videos, they're very professional quality. I think as a personality, I think there's some value there. So anyway, I was approached by another company who have this, they had a software that sort of detects fonts. So you could take a picture of a font and you could kind of scan it in, and then it would kind of find that font, tell you where you can purchase it and all that kind of stuff. And that is a tool that I could use. There's been so many times in my career where I look at a font and I'm like, what is that font? Where do I get it? I need to use this. And I have no way to track it down. I try to find ones that look similar. So this seemed like a really cool product and one that I would use. So I was more than happy when I got this email, and of course, again, sent the form letter back saying, I don't want to waste my time if you're really interested. They said they were interested. And then they sent me some samples and everything of some ideas of what to do, that's always helpful. And they sent me some videos of some other videos that people did. And so there was an example of a guy just it was like a longer video. The editing, it could have been chopped down, and I'm guilty of kind of rambling, but hopefully it's somewhat interesting. But this was just kind of basically going through the software, and it was kind of droll and everything. It wasn't super interesting, which I think if I was going to do a video like that, I could make it a lot more interesting, a lot more entertaining. So some of these other videos that they showed me, they definitely had the views and the subscribers and the audience. I knew that I don't have that kind of subscriber count, so I have to rely on what I'm good at, and I think that's making fun videos, high production values. You got a cool set here. Try to do, take some time with the editing. Take away all the subscribers and all the views and all that kind of stuff. If you were just showing this video, which one of these videos is going to be the most, the most interesting, and that's the thing. And here's the main thing. So, because I maybe not the biggest subscriber, view count, all that stuff, but I'm offering some production value. I'm offering something, I come from a, film and television background. I've done that stuff professionally. So I know what it costs. I know when people come to you and they want you to produce a video, I know what that costs. That is very expensive. You're talking thousands of dollars. So anyway, I've made a proposal. I sent it back to them, and basically I went off of, if you guys aren't familiar, there's a website called Social Blue Book, and it'll kind of show you, enter your information in there, and it'll show based on your channel and everything, or various channels. You can do YouTube, Facebook, all the different things, and it'll tell you what the value is. So if you're going to do a promotion or a, you know, or a sponsorship, what you can kind of charge for that. And there's a range, you know, there's a middle range, and then there's a low range and a high range. Now I kind of went on the high range because I know, again, I value my time. And if somebody else doesn't, if somebody else thinks, well, you should be in the middle range, and then I just, maybe I don't want to do it, because to me my time is a lot more valuable. So if I'm going to be partnering and doing a promotion, the first thing is I've got to like the product. I've got to know that it works with my channel, know that my audience is interested. But I also have, you know, there's my time involved, and I value my time, even though and I'm willing to spend on my channel for my stuff. I'm willing to do these videos for free and not really get a lot of money out of them. But if we're bringing somebody else in the mix, I mean, that stuff has value to you. So I mean, there's a, you know, there's a sort of a price to pay for that. So I kind of went on the higher end. I sent him back the quote and everything, and I explained this. I said, look, and one of the things I put is, you can use this video for whatever else you want. It doesn't just have to be people that come to my video, my channel, and watch it. If you want to take that video and you want to use it in your own, like, you know, your own promotion, and show, oh, this is what this person's saying about it, and this is a little clip from that or whatever, and you can use that. Because again, if you're going to a production studio and say, I want a commercial made, or I want something like that, you're talking thousands of dollars. The quote that I gave him was just, you know, basically a little over 100 based on my channel. And the other thing is that Social Blue Book, it's kind of a little, it doesn't update quite as often. Like, I think it was still saying I had like 10,000 subscribers. I got a couple more thousand than that, and I was saying my views were a little lower. So it was a little out of date, so I kind of bumped it up a little bit, and that's, to me, that's more than fair. And I sent it back, and you know, they were cool enough to actually respond, because again, some people don't, but they just said, yeah, I think we're gonna go with a different, you know, person, and that's probably because they found somebody who is probably willing to, you know, do another video. Because if you're just turning on the camera and talking and not, you know, I'm kind of doing that here, but if you're bringing a product, I really want to entice people to buy that product, and I want to do a little extra with that. So they probably found somebody that would just do, who had more views and was willing to do it for cheaper, just for the, maybe even without any additional money, just for the product itself, to use the product, or whatever the case is. I don't know the case, you know, I wasn't in the room and anything like that. But you know, so it came down to basically that I don't think that they really understood the value that I'm offering. Again, if anyone's curious, go to a production studio and find out what it costs to make even a 30-second commercial or something like that. Sometimes those commercials don't even reach, if they're on network television, you know, those local spots, remember, sometimes they don't even reach what a YouTube, you know, audience does. So there is value in this. There's value in the stuff that you do, and if I'm going to take time to do that, you know, I need to be compensated from that. If they don't see that, or they don't want to do that, or whatever the case is, that's fine. Because I've got my own product. I've got the Comic Maker toolkit. I've got my Patreon. I got other things that if I'm putting out content, I'd rather promote my own stuff for free than promote somebody else's stuff for free, or next to nothing, or something that's just not equivalent to the value that I can bring by putting together a really awesome video and everything like that. So anyway, more or less this video, this is something that happened to me, and I wish I knew about this stuff. So if you are a growing YouTuber, if you had these things come to you, or maybe you just received one and you're like, what do I do? And maybe you found this video that way, or whatever the case is, or as you grow, maybe this is something you want to know in advance. If you're just now starting YouTube, and then eventually down the line you might start getting these, I just want that information to be out there, how this kind of stuff works, because you don't want to waste your time. Your time is valuable. The time you spend on your YouTube channel, it's an investment. You're growing your YouTube channel, so it's fine to do that for yourself, but for other people to expect you to do the same for them for next to nothing, or for far less than it's worth, you know, don't bother with that. Always focus on your own stuff. You can take your own time and invest it into yourself, but you don't need to do that for other people. You know, it's a business. They're trying to make a business transaction with you. So, you know, in business there is money that exchanges hands, and there's nothing wrong with that. Again, you know, make sure if you are approached with something like this, you know, I wouldn't just take any. Make sure it's right for your channel and everything. And if that's the case, then do sort of a basic form, something that you can send back and say, look, I'd like to work with you. You know, sometimes I get these messages and they're kind of blanket emails, so I just want to make sure this is legit. And if that's the case, then yeah, let's talk further. Something like that, and then send that back. But don't take the time like I did in the beginning, wasted a lot of my time. Oh, well, I'll put together a really cool proposal and then I'll send it back to them and wow them, and then you get nothing. Or then you get further along in this process. So I'm still learning each one of these new things. Now I just gave you 3 examples of things that didn't work. I've had other things that did. And I don't do a lot of these sponsorships. Some of them just don't work for my channel, and sometimes I've let people know. I said, yeah, this product really doesn't make sense for my channel, or whatever the case is. And I've done some that do work out, and in the future, you know, I would like to do more, but it has to be worth it for me. It has to be worth it for the person I'm partnering with. And in some of these cases, I guess they just didn't feel it was worth it, but it's got to be a mutual type thing. So, you know, this is more or less just a cautionary tale to kind of warn you of some of this stuff you can expect with some of these sponsorships. And, you know, as the channel continues to grow, I'm sure I'll have more growing pains dealing with these type of things, and I'll learn as I go, and I will update you on what those challenges are. This is kind of for me, for the size of my channel, and for people that are hoping to kind of get to that point at some point. If you're beyond that, then you're probably not even watching this video. But anyway, so that's some stuff I had to talk to you, kind of get off my chest and let you guys know, kind of give you a little warning about sponsorships from a smaller YouTuber standpoint. And that's all I got to say today, so I will see you guys later. That is all.
Hey, thanks for watching. If you like what you saw and you want to see more, hit that subscribe button. Also, you can follow me at Serkworks on social media, and now you can support the work that I do on Patreon. Do you like making comics? Then go to Serkworks.com and pick up the Comic Maker Starter Kit. It's packed full of fonts, brushes, templates, and more. And best of all, it's totally free.